morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
Check, 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 check. Is this thing on?
First Guy Omaha Radio. First Guy Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
Check 1 2 1 2.
Check, 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 check. Do you feel the love?
Look like we good. All systems go. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
Hey.
Welcome to a fresh edition of First Guy Omaha Radio. First Guy Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
Paul Beeee, Buddi3 Da Gawd. We here. All of you chat jammers, ghost listeners, radio listeners. Thanks for joining us.
Don't forget the monitoring spirits.
Oh, hello, monitoring spirits.
Yes.
That will never admit to watching the show.
We see you though.
It is Monday, May 13th, 2024. Thanks for joining us. Man, my voice is extra berry white this morning. What's going on here?
A little bit.
Settings.
Hello,
Governor.
Hello, Governor.
Hey, shout out to Beth who gave us a shout out already over on the radio channel.
Okay.
Yep, played a little new Kamasi for her this morning. She liked that.
Man, getting down with Club 630.
Yes.
It seems like Mark is right there with you, Paul. He says, good morning. Did we even sleep?
Man, that's the problem with a Sunday night show. Ooh.
Man, burning the candle on both ends.
Welcome, Mama God is first in line saying, good morning, First Guy fam. Good morning to you, Mama God. Appreciate you coming in. Kimmer is up early as well. Good morning, y'all.
Man, happy belated Mother's Day to the women's, to the mothers.
Yeah, how'd you guys spend your weekend?
Yeah, what you get into?
What kind of little raggedy gifts and stuff did you get from your kids? Oh, thanks, honey. Thank you. I always wanted a piece of cardboard paper. Love it. Mark Manor says, good morning. Yeah, how did we even sleep? Yeah, man. Yeah, I'm working off a couple hours sleep for real. Pops is up early though.
Hey.
You can't say nothing if Pops is up at the same time you are, because that means he's up early.
It's still yesterday for Pops.
Man, good morning and mad love from Las Vegas. Appreciate you, Pops. Sue Kessler Hagen says, good morning. Leg Keister says, happy marvelous Monday. Right on.
Marvelous.
Kimber says, I forgot to tell y'all, I got an award from Willie Hamilton alongside Pastor Charles Nelson from Zion Baptist on May 4th at his luncheon. Okay. What'd you get? What was the award for? Most the hardest working woman in news business. She says, my son turned 24 Thursday and he gave me $300. He said he ain't doing. Now that's the best Mother's Day gift I ever heard. Just give me the cash, son. Just give me the cash.
Man,
that's what's up.
Yeah, I gave my mom a macaroni necklace.
Thank you, son. Always wanted a macaroni necklace.
No, jokes. Man, Mama got in the chat actually. Peace and love, moms. Peace and love. Yeah, looking forward to seeing her actually. Gonna be making her way down here pretty soon.
That's what's up.
Yeah, got to do something.
I know you're looking forward to that home cooking.
Man, well, I can burn in the kitchen myself, but yeah, looking forward to Mama God. She got it's levels to it. It's levels to it.
No, you ain't trying to compare your burning to Mama God's.
No. But
I even miss her cooking from 2 years ago.
yeah. Mama God, she classically trained though. It's levels to it.
That's what's up. What you guys do for Mother's Day and your weekend too? Let us know what happened over the weekend. Yeah. Definitely hit a couple of things this weekend. Friends that had a little housewarming party that I went to, and then of course Kamasi, Washington last night.
Man, did you make it to Cinco de Mayo?
I rolled out a little bit. I walked up and down the street a couple of times. I didn't stay too long. Kind of had too much to do that day, but I kind of went out there. I guess before all the action started, all the trouble started. I must have got out of there right in time. So
extracurriculars.
Yeah, but I had to go get me a taco or two, bro.
Yeah. I was gonna say I saw a few vendors down there. I saw Shiny Hernandez with Island Chill. She was posted up. So a few people getting down. I know Sister Tamika Meese of NOCP. She said they was gonna be down there. So yeah,
man, I missed all them. Okay, that's what's up. I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm glad that everybody's participating. That's a good parade. It's a good parade we got out here for sure.
Man, yeah. I wonder how that compares nationally to other, because like
Mm.
Omaha has the largest Juneteenth
Mhm.
celebration. I wonder, where do we compare nationally as far as Cinco de Mayo? Because yeah, it's a pretty big situation.
Yeah, but I'm from Southern California, so
No, okay.
it pales in comparison.
Oh, okay, okay. Well, thank
Yeah.
you, thank
I
you.
mean, just because of the sheer numbers, I think the parade is off the chain,
Hmm.
and the participation and the vibe is matching everything. But it's just the numbers. You know what I'm saying? Like we
Oh
just
yeah.
got a lot more. There's just a lot more streets involved in Cali, but and they do it big. There's floats and those they do it pretty big out there too. But they do it big here too, man. It's a proper Cinco de Mayo celebration if you do
Okay.
that for sure. And like I said, I mean, Cinco de Mayo is as good as your street vendors.
There you go.
So the
There you
tacos
go.
is right, and it's right. Also in the chat, Heather Williams gives us a good morning, everyone. Good morning. Marlon
Hey,
Harrison says, "Happy Monday, First Sky family." Mama God said, "Did you just say Friday, or am I on the wrong show? Did I say Friday?
yeah, he might
I
have
might have said for me.
cut him some slack. He was kicking it last night with Jazz Finest.
Yeah, yeah, man. It's always a pleasure. That brother is such a cool, just peaceful dude.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
everybody misses the hi-fi house. Everybody.
Man, he was still ranting and raving about it.
They're still talking about the records and the turntables they buy for their own house after that. Yeah, so they was just like, man, that was one of the coolest things, man. You ought to bring it back. Yeah,
Man.
yeah, that'd be nice.
Yeah, would be.
Anyway, how was your weekend, man? What happened? Did you have a good weekend?
Oh yeah, yeah. My weekend was nice. Eventful. Got out in the community. Did some
Yeah,
charity work. Handed out some plates. And like hygiene packs. For our houseless brothers and sisters.
that's what's up.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Also went to a boxing event. Again, got my little man into boxing.
Mm-hmm.
There's a community organization. It's called Fighters for Life, and
Hmm.
they hold youth boxing tournaments, and some of the funds that they raise from the tournaments, they also donate to our houseless brothers and sisters and help them with resources and things like that. So they had a youth boxing event, and I, just went out and helped some of the brothers, just out being in the community, man, trying to echo, it's not just Omaha. I'm a man of the people everywhere I go, so just out
Word.
there with the people. So that was pretty much my Saturday. Also spent time with the family. Of course, have the Levi Blake funeral coming up. So
Yeah.
family getting ready to make their way to Omaha and things like that. So spending time with them as well. Definitely peace to Miss Shonda, who is the daughter of brother Levi Blake. And yeah. So that was pretty much my weekend.
There you go. Well, we're going to jump back into the chat in a minute and find out about how your weekend was. Let us know. In the meantime, we'll get the show started. But thanks for joining us. Again, it's Monday, May 13th, 2024.
Hey,
I can't get used to my voice sounding like this. I'm not
man.
kind of strange. Let's get it fired up. Let's start
Let's
the show.
start the show.
Thanks for joining us once again. Fresh edition of First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
It's Monday, May 13th, 2024. Monday means we might have the senators on today. Senator Terrell McKinney, Senator Justin Wayne usually come through on Monday if they are not busy. And same thing with Brother Kasim and Brother Sherman Wells as well. Especially hope Brother Sherman Wells comes through. We got a lot to catch up on with him
Man.
and the things that are going on here. If you've been following any of the stories that's been happening, watching the previous shows, a lot's going on with this OHA situation. And we had a brother Hassani Lee on last to
Man.
give us some updates. And yeah, Pops hit me up, said it was a great show Friday. I feel the same way. I feel like anytime that brother comes on is really interesting story. He's a storyteller, and just listening to the stuff that he's going through is amazing and inspiring. Just thinking about the work that he's undertaking just to make things comfortable for his dad. Yeah, it's a trip, man. So hopefully we'll have Brother Wells on and be able to talk a little bit more about what's going on and a few other things. Matter of fact, you want to jump into what we're going to be talking about today? Today's discussion points, buddy?
Yeah. There's a few things going on. Actually, a few high profile things that's happening that we're looking at and hoping to discuss and get into with you all. So yeah, definitely as always, let your mind be free, let your voice be heard. And there's actually a few things to remind you of as well. Again, tomorrow is the primary. So, again, we're going to dive back in and kind of remind people, refresh people on what these ID laws. Again, this is the first time that Nebraskans will be voting under the new voter ID law. So, making sure everybody is in law and everybody is, prepared and got everything right in order to have your voices be heard here in this primary. So, we're going to dive into that a little bit. Also, as Paul mentioned, we did speak to Brother Hassani Lee on Friday. Still looking at this whole OHA situation. Of course, more hearings coming up later this month. So we'll continue to look out for it. But also, there's a petition going on that we should definitely be made aware of. You will actually have the opportunity to sign this petition. Again, it's an imminent danger, to public health requests. Of course, talking about joining poor, man. So yeah, we'll definitely dive into that situation. Also, more investigations coming. Something coming from the federal government. Apparently, Omaha World Herald is reporting that there is a federal investigation into the state of Nebraska over their handling of mental health services. Something that we've been talking about. Of course, there's been plenty of facilities opening up, but it always seems it has to be tied to some kind of case. You have to basically get in trouble with the police in order to get some real mental health services in the area. But is that going to change? Again, the Department of Justice will be having some town halls coming up, so we'll tell you about that. Also, some big news in the news realm, something that we've been paying close attention to. Again, definitely peace and blessings to Brother John Heaston, again, the publisher of El Perico and the Reader. And apparently some big acquisitions went down. Looks like Nebraska Public Media will now be running and owning the Reader and El Perico after they made an acquisition. So definitely going to dive into what that means, maybe what we can expect from the Reader and El Perico. Again, part of the reason why we do what we do, definitely helping us kind of just wrap our minds around journalism. Again, a lot of journalistic principles that we've learned, solutions journalism, citizen journalism, a lot of the things, even helping us with nonprofit journalism, a lot of the things that we're working on, we can, give a lot of credit to Brother John Heaston and the Reader. So definitely want to talk about that situation. I know a lot of you have been paying close attention and looking and wondering what was happening next after the Reader closed down. So I definitely want to talk about that. Also, a few nonprofits. I know that's y'all favorite word. A few nonprofits joining together to do some things in the community, but maybe, hopefully doing some good. So again, we'll be talking about that and more throughout the show. As always, there's definitely some childcare things to look at. Looks like there will be some gutting of some programs and things. Yeah, again, a lot of things happening throughout the day. Feel free to let your mind be free, let your voice be heard. If there's anything that we're not talking about, feel free to drop that into the chat. Yeah, we'll try to get into it. In the meantime, between time, Paul B.
Yo.
What's the word, man?
I don't know, man. I'm trying to figure out these settings here because this mic keeps sounding like this. I might start singing around here many times.
Get your Lou Rawls on. Lou
Rawls. Jumping in the chat real quick, Michelle Moreno said, I worked and then came home and made homemade Salisbury steaks, mashed potatoes. It sound like a quality weekend to me.
Okay.
Mama guy said, Buddy can cook though. His dad can burn. Whole family gets down, huh?
Yeah.
That's I wasn't taking nothing away from you from your skills in the kitchen. I'm just saying.
There's levels. I know.
There's levels.
I know. Yeah.
Kimber says we went to Revive Center to eat and to the zoo yesterday. What'd you eat at the Revive Center?
Okay.
I haven't been over there to eat yet. Let's check that out. She says, I cried when he gave it to me. Yeah, and your son hands you $300.
Yeah.
It's like a sign he understands rent and all kinds of insights. That's grown. He's growing. He's growing up. He's a grown man. That's what it is. Michelle Moreno gives us a good morning, everyone. Wanda Lewis gives us a good morning. Amy Holmes says, good morning, all. A lot of people in this morning. Appreciate that very much.
Yeah.
Kimber says, I went to Cinco de Mayo Saturday. She says, if it were a numbers thing only, you would think Juneteenth would be bigger in other places. You would think so, but yeah, we do have as far as these activities and things are concerned, the biggest, the most extensive at Juneteenth is what I'm understanding. So
Yes, it's a full week situation, right?
significant, yeah, for a
Yeah.
week. Black Dynamite says, top of the morning, y'all. How was the show last night, Paul? Off the chain, bro. Kamasi Washington always takes you higher. He brings it. He brings it every time.
Man,
Yeah,
play some cuts from the new album.
he did. He mostly played cuts from the new album. As a matter of fact, so he got and the new album's off the chain, man. He got some stuff on there with
Yeah,
George
man.
Clinton. He redid Computer Love.
Really?
Yes,
I ain't caught that one. I'm gonna have to check that out, man.
it's cold, bro.
I've been bumping that. Was that Dream State with Andre
Mm-hmm.
3000? Been
Yeah.
bumping that on repeat.
Yep. Yeah. So it's quality. I'm definitely going down and getting the vinyl from Homer's. Shout out to Homer's Music. Yeah. I was tempted to buy it last night, but I was like, nah. I'm gonna get it from. If you buy it from Homer's, then they keep on ordering the good stuff. So let's go ahead and go down there and pick that up. We see our brother Pena Valadares in the chat this morning. He says, good morning. Hope you had a good Cinco de Mayo. Marlon Harrison says people said Cinco de Mayo and Florence Day parades were too political this year. It's interesting. See, like what happened to drill teams, the clowns, and the amazing bands. Missing those things.
That's interesting. It is an election season, so maybe that has something to do with the fact that it's an election year. But yeah, okay, that is still interesting.
Yeah. Brother Pena says Latinos are inherently led to the table in every aspect that includes minorities, people's rights, women's rights, and among other things. It's time we unite, and I will not apologize to how political. Yeah. I like that answer too. I think this is right along the lines of what goes on with us. Buddy and I are a couple of musicians, artists, but the conversation is too important. We have to organize. We have to talk about what's going on here, even if it means that you got to kind of stop what you're doing in order to jump into a dialogue of how to make some change happen. So, yeah, I think it's just going to be the nature of things is with the current climate that everybody who's going to get together is going to get together, use every opportunity they can. So,
man, especially in an election year like this, where some of the things we're hearing from Trump as far as immigration and it's that time. And Guillermo Pena saying, Marlon Harrison kind of responding directly, says, I think Latinos are uniting and nothing wrong with that.
There you go. Nothing wrong with uniting. Mama God in the chat says, to all mothers, did your children call you in the morning, afternoon, or evening to wish you a happy Mother's Day? All right. Put some folks on the spot.
Yeah. She it's a little tongue in cheek. She put me on blast.
Dang. Okay.
Yeah. I caught her late. I'll be honest. I caught her a little late, but I called.
There you go. Sean McCarthy in the chat. He says, morning. Hoping Paul gets a nap after today after Kamasi Washington. Man. Yeah, I don't know, man. Monday's my packed day, so I'll be sleeping hard later on. I don't know if I'm gonna catch a nap though. He said, great news about the reader. Media acquisitions are always dicey, but I'm optimistic for this one.
Okay.
I agree. When I heard it's Nebraska Public Media, then I know that they do some good work over there, and I'm kind of happy that it could have went in the wrong hands, which is the reason why John Houston decided to shut it down in the first place. He didn't want it to turn into like something that he wouldn't have been proud of. So, that's what's up. Mark Manor says, I've been on some of the calls with Nebraska Public Media. Hopefully, I will probably jump back in. I don't know if I'll be as news based though. Seems like some others have taken up that torch. Okay.
Okay.
So there you go. That's right, because you started writing for music. You were the music writer right before the reader shut down. So interesting. Thanks for the insights on that. Yeah. How do you feel about Nebraska Public Media? He says you feel, it looks like you feel hopeful, but just in general as a news source, I think probably just this year I've kind of remembered it was there and started using it a little bit here and there. So yeah, let me know how you think of it too, since you got a little bit of insight on that as well.
Yeah.
Mark is saying that Kamasi played the whole album, the entire album in order yesterday.
Oh, okay. Man. Yeah,
it's dope. Super dope. Appreciate you guys letting us know what was going on, what you did this weekend, all that good stuff. We always like to keep up with each other, so I appreciate you guys letting us know what's happening. And it seems that, I don't know, it's kind of an optimistic Monday here a little bit. I'm really happy about this news about the reader. in a big way, and also hopeful just because primaries are tomorrow,
Yeah,
so
man.
chance to make some change. So yeah, few things kind of got me hyped a little bit. What about you? How you feeling, buddy?
Yeah, yeah, I'm feeling good. Definitely want to kind of dive into this reader story.
Hmm.
Definitely kind of excited, trying to just really wrap my head around what this means for Nebraska public media, what this means in general. I do find it interesting that Mark Manor is saying I don't know if it will be as news based though.
Hmm.
Again, for those who are familiar with the reader, like I know Miss Erica Felt says that's one of the publications that she really latched on to when she first moved to
Hmm.
Omaha. And in the early days of the reader, it was more so, even thinking back to like when I was in high school, it was more so like entertainment based. You get all the shows there. You find out,
Hmm.
with the theater plays and with the concerts, and kind of staying on top of that stuff.
Right.
But of course, around 2019, Freedom Summer pandemic area, they switched to a more heavy news, hard news angle. And that's when you have, like Bridget Fogarty and Chris Baby Boy Bolin and Leia Cates and, the whole squad that we're familiar with. That's when they got really, really, really active.
Right.
And so, yeah, I don't know if they're going to return, to their own root, the old roots, because Nebraska public media already, has some news. So, yeah, that's definitely where my mind
Yeah.
is right now. Actually, let's go ahead and dive into that,
Yep.
as
Yep.
we prepare for our guests, kind of letting people know the big change. And this is big news. Again, Nebraska public media, which is in partnership. If you ever hear anything you watch PBS, NPR related, that is in conjunction with Nebraska public media. And now this actually coming from their news release on their website. It says, in alignment with its ongoing mission to provide diverse and impactful news and information in every community, Nebraska Public Media has acquired, the Reader and El Perico digital properties from Pioneer Publishing in Omaha. And just to stop there, it is kind of interesting to see that they made the distinction, again, digital properties are from Pioneer. So
Mm.
I don't know if this will include the print situation, because again, the Reader and El Perico, sometimes they had the double front and back situation. Sometimes they had their own single print, but it was a print situation that you can go into stores, restaurants, and find the stands. I don't know if that will be included in this. Again, Nebraska Public Media says the digital properties of the Reader and El Perico, so that might just mean the website.
Hmm.
We'll definitely see. But again, for those who are not familiar, the Reader has been around for a few decades, actually 30 years now. Founded in 1994, the Reader has been a cornerstone of Omaha's media landscape as an alternative news publication. And of course, its sister publication, El Perico, has served as a vital source of Spanish language news and information, sometimes sharing stories and translating stories. And again, El Perico has resonated deeply with the diverse communities of the metro area. Pioneer Publishing's John Heaston, a big shout out to brother John, who founded and published both newspapers until about September 2023. Sought to steward sought a steward to continue the work he and his team were doing. He gifted the properties to Nebraska Public Media, an organization whose mission aligned with Heaston's own vision. And I will say that this is a move that I'm sure John would not have done had the mission and visions not aligned. So I'm definitely excited and confident that this will be in the right hands. This is a significant development in Nebraska Public Media's ongoing commitment to increase service on digital platforms, as well as create new opportunities to work with Spanish-speaking Nebraskans and experiment with reaching new audiences. So definitely excited to see what they bring. A CEO and general manager of Nebraska Public Media, Mark Leonard, spoke up, and he's excited too. He says, we are grateful for the opportunity to extend the news and cultural reporting done by the Reader and El Perico. This endeavor will amplify our commitment to in-depth coverage of people, places, and issues that may not be receiving the kind of attention that public media journalism can provide. And we will shine a spotlight on Omaha and all it has to offer in live music, art, food, and much more. So again, definitely excited to see what kind of publishing or kind of reporting comes out of this.
Hmm.
See, who gets involved as well, because we know, of course, Carla, who was over El Perico, she's no longer there with El Perico. Of course, Chris Baby Boy Bowling has since moved to Flatwater Free Press. So yeah, excited to see what happens. As of right now, Nebraska Public Media does, have its own news and publish some news. Most of it is kind of aggregate news, though. You'll see stories from Flatwater. You'll see stories from Nebraska Examiner. You'll see a few stories from other areas like South Dakota, Iowa, Missouri. So it's kind of a Midwest newsroom. So yeah, we'll see. If more news comes out about Omaha or if it's more focused or what happens in these plans.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I was thinking about El Perico. I was thinking Carla was really heading that up when she was over there when it was under Pioneer Media. She went over to Flatwater for a little bit, but they didn't renew her contract, so she might be available to jump back on. So I'm not sure if that's going to happen. It would be good if she did, for sure. Does kind of sound like to me, just from this article, that they probably will be venturing into a little bit of news, but again, they have to use their own people until they expand that. But I'm glad to hear that they're going to be focusing on Omaha, and there really is a gap when it comes to the culture part of it. Like you were explaining, the Reader used to be a culture magazine all the way up until 2020, and that's been missing too. That's been missing too. So the good thing that Mark Manor has put together Omaha Buzz, because at least the music scene is being kept up with, but a lot of the other arts, there's been a gap when the Reader shut down. So hopefully this is a good move. Kimmer in the chat says Nebraska Public Media is entrenched in the community, not entrenched in the community, not East, entrenched in community, not East Omaha. They were the way the Reader was. It could be a great opportunity for them. I agree. I think that I think it probably is gonna be something that is gonna be a good move for Nebraska Public Media in general.
Yeah.
Mark Manor said no plans to print. Also, he says some people in the call were skeptical. I trust John. That's my sentiment as well. If John did it, we've talked to John enough, just you and I, buddy, enough to know, he'll shut it down before it gets into the wrong hands.
Yeah,
which is what he did. So
yeah, and just to be candid, we were looking at and talking about trying to acquire the Reader, and just trying to figure out a way to keep that situation going, because it meant so much to so many of us. But yeah, I'm not upset that Nebraska, public media got it. I do know that there were some organizations putting their bid in. A lot of people were vying for it. But like I'm with Sean McCarthy. He says Nebraska public media isn't Gannett or Lee Enterprises, so at least they won't gut the publication to a husk. So yeah, again, it seems like everybody is hopeful, still unsure, but hopeful and trusting of John. So
yep,
I'm definitely looking forward.
Also for us, Tony Johnson is my next question after that. If they get it, will there be a room for a Black perspective? He says, any plans for Black perspective media from them? It's a good question. But Nebraska Public Media, from some of the people that I've talked to over there, if there is not a plan for that, they're open to one. So, that's really all we can ask for when it comes to any other media besides the ones that we're putting together. As far as that's concerned, that's kind of one of the reasons why I feel pretty good about it. And same thing with John. If you know John Heaston, you know about how many newspapers from communities of color that he's helped put together on purpose. He's been the biggest advocate for Black news in a whole bunch of other cities in besides Omaha, and it's always been a support to us as well. So yeah, if he's handed it off, I'm sure that was on his checklist. Like, you guys gonna engage with the Black community more? You're gonna so. So that's like I said, that's what got me excited about it. I feel like there's a conversation that's going to happen between us and them now that I found out it's them.
That's definitely my thought. In the same vein that we had a relationship with John and the team over there, as for Sky Omaha, I'm definitely confident that we can kind of continue down Nebraska public media. Especially, in light of some of the gaps that you all have pointed out, as far as, lack of engagement with the community, as far as Omaha goes, especially East Omaha, and then also lack of, diversified journalists, we'll say.
Yeah, so it'd be really interesting to see. Again, shout out to John Heaston, and we always got love for that brother for sure. And if you know us, then you know that we've been a major part of what was going on with there for some time. So this is good news. That, and the fact that Flatwater Free Press has put together putting together the Documenters program again. I feel like this next year is going to be a big jump in your choices for news, and some cohesion with news, and a lot of stuff going on again. That
Yeah.
it'll feel like it did the last few years.
Yeah, and expect new, the new activity to jump off very soon. According to this press release, it says, in addition to providing an archive of past published content of both the Reader and El Perico, in
So,
coming months, Nebraska Public Media will be developing a plan to continue to add new content to the digital sites for both entities. So there you
love
go. There you go. There you
Love
go.
it, love it, love it. Well, we appreciate everybody that's jumped in on this story. We'll be definitely keeping an eye on it. It is 7:30 right now. If you believe in the concept of time, you know what that means. It means that we got Brother Kasim coming on in the house. Looks like you're on the road, huh, bro? Good morning. Can you hear us? Can't hear you. Can't hear you.
Can't hear you. Might be muted.
Might be muted. Okay, looks like he on the road, so I appreciate him working that out to try to come on in. We'll get him in a second. But anyway, yeah, appreciate all your comments and concerns on that. Tony Johnson on the same page. We're gonna see what's happening, and really the conversations that we have all over town. That's the issue. The issue is anybody really trying to support Black media? And that's we gonna be in struggle mode until more people step up on that. And so we're keeping our eye on who's where's funds going, who's got the biggest reach, what's going on, and are they able to work with us? Are they going to be working with us? So again, out of all the people that I heard were trying to acquire the Reader, besides the ones we were talking about, I haven't been excited about some of the prospects, but
Yeah, man.
been trusting John from the jump though. He, like I said, he'll shut it down before it goes to the wrong hands.
Oh yeah, and he seems again in this article I didn't go over the quote, but yeah, he said he's basically confident, in the talent, the vision. So we'll see in the next coming months what happens from that, and if there's any opportunity for individuals to give some work and push some stories, we'll let you know.
And just one more point on that. We engaged in that content creator camp last year. We're planning on doing it again coming up, and one of the things is if we can lean citizen journalists into becoming journalists, or even just stay citizen journalists, they have more outlets. If there's more outlets for them to be able to go get jobs, write articles, get paid for their articles, more the better. So the more outlets they are that are putting money behind the push, and that want to hire more reporters of color and stuff like that, the better it's going to be for everybody. So that's the other part of that.
And again, remember, any Nebraska Public Media is already a part of this whole ecosystem of shared stories, if you will. We're seeing Nebraska Examiner, we're seeing Flatwater Free Press, and now I'm sure the Reader will be kind of doing the same thing. They might even share, journalists. So, and we'll definitely again pretty excited about this and seeing how we can get in. Kimra says, I need to find a young person I can pay to create content for me of all the pictures and videos they need. Okay.
There you go.
Yeah.
She says, "Oh, you might need to find you some AI is what you need to find."
Man, it's out there. It's out there.
Yeah. Well, appreciate everybody's comments on this. Like I said, we'll keep up with it as much as we can. Hit the like button. Rose Review said, "Good morning, Mayor Sanchez. Didn't get no lyrics from you this morning on a Monday. What's happening?"
Man, the mayor.
The mayor. Yeah, appreciate everybody that's over on YouTube, especially. And I failed to ask too. Please share the show.
Man,
if you can, put the show on your, share it on your Facebook page. I think you can do it on YouTube as well. Get as many people in on the discussion as we can. While we're waiting on Brother Kasim to come back, I kind of wanted to jump in and do another story here about what's going on with the legislature, because hopefully we'll have one of the senators come on this morning and can ask them about that. But maybe we might need to set that up a little bit, because I want to ask them specifically, like, why the gutting of the funds for the child care situation. So
okay, jump into that. Okay.
I'd like to jump into that, get that story before, so I can kind of formulate what I want to ask them when they come on about it, because I think it's pretty significant. Now, hopefully they'll be able to give us some answers.
Yeah, we can go ahead and pivot into that. So in other news, this actually speaking of that whole ecosystem, this story is coming out of Flatwater Free Press, and actually this is a story that was posted on the Nebraska Public Media site as well. And definitely something to look out for. I don't know if Miss Erica Feld is in the chat this morning, but our mind, goes to her and Sister Gwen Easter and our other, Sunita Budai, our other, again, friends of First Sky who are in the childcare industry, because this is definitely news that they will want to hear and need to hear, because, again, as the headline reads, Nebraska legislature has gutted funding from key childcare bills before passage. As some chat chimers are saying on the Friends of First Sky group page, the devil is definitely in the details. Again, there's bills being passed, but what does that exactly mean? Again, before they adjourned last month, according to this article, state lawmakers passed two of their biggest proposals to address the lack of affordable child care in Nebraska. But what does that exactly mean? What are the details? According to this report, they steered $0 to those new efforts, casting doubt on whether either law will have meaningful impact on a growing crisis, or is it just lip service? Is it just the look? What about actual weight? What about actual teeth to the situation? And finances will go a long way to making that happen. However, none were given. Despite broad support for the policies, money money proved to be the sticking point in a year when Governor Jim Pillen, a Republican who proposed child care legislation, had big goals for property tax relief, which actually he's making a world tour around the state with his town halls on this whole property tax situation. So that kind of tells you where his priorities are. Now, really, although again he proposed child care legislation, his big goal, as you see, is the property tax. And the 2 weeks since the session has ended, two more Lincoln child care centers announced they're shutting down, bringing the total to 5 closures announced in the last 6 months in that city alone. That's according to the nonprofit Lincoln Littles. Those are just the latest in the long-term trend. The state lost nearly 12% of its providers for kids ages 5 and under. That's between 2019 and 2023. As of January of this year, 9 counties didn't have any licensed providers at all. Again, 9 counties across the state have no licensed childcare providers. That's according to nonprofit First 5 Nebraska. And the governor, stakeholders, and other lawmakers have all said that they will continue to work on the issue, and advocates have welcomed the incremental changes as a net positive. Again, maintaining hope and positivity, but efforts to pass property tax relief this year has stifled any bills with a projected fiscal impact. Senator Teresa Ebach of Sumner, Nebraska, says, long story short, anything that had a fiscal note attached to it either didn't make it out of committee or was reduced on the floor. Of course, one of the biggest child care bills, LB 856, would have made most child care workers eligible for the state's child care subsidy, something that we talked about when the bill passed, was definitely excited about. And again, that would have potentially opened up our resource to about 4,400 plus parents. That's according to an estimate. However, the Department of Health and Human Services estimated it costs about $21 million, which is a number that, again, does not help this whole property tax relief situation. And actually, a later amendment capped the cost to about $10 million a year before lawmakers ultimately cut it completely. Any cost associated with the bill was cut, basically making the bill null and void. In the end, it makes a technical change to the subsidy aimed at helping rural providers. But again, not much help coming out of this. Furthermore, Pillen requested that another major bill that ran into the funding roadblock at LB 1416 created 2 grant programs, considering a potential game changer by advocates. One of the programs, again, would have matched grants to cities, nonprofits, or other organizations, prioritized efforts that increase capacity for childcare for children under 4, also support the industry's workforce and create programs in childcare deserts, i.e. areas of the state that do not have any licensed childcare providers. And again, that bill was gutted of finances. Again, it only would have cost $5 million, but that seemed to be too much. So here we have, again, in the light of LB 1024 and some of the ARPA funds that have come into the state, and conversations about $600 million for lakes in between Omaha and Lincoln. But, 21 million for childcare or 5 million to help some childcare programs. That's too much. It's too much. So there we go. Again, as a lot of chat chimers are saying, the devil is in the details as far as the childcare bills. Of course, they're passing, but what real weight do they have?
It's a good question. If we are able to speak to the senators today, maybe we can ask them a couple questions on that. I'm still trying to let some of the information sink in.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it seems like it's those games, it's those political things that happen in the legislature. It's not, nothing is ever really cut and dry, and there's always deals to be made, and there's always other people's agendas and holdups and all the things. So where do these things where are they actually sitting? What's actually happening with some of this help that was promised to come? So if you have any questions about that, I kind of wanted to put that out there for the Chad Chimers to have some comments and questions about that. If we are able to speak to the senators today, maybe they got some insights that we're not hearing about in this article about the conversations that they're having with other senators and what's actually happening. If anybody's even having a conversation with the governor, it'd be good to hear where things are leaning. But I think some people are saying that Team Ren is saying bills left open ended.
Mm-hmm.
About 100K on a pop to school choice, lip service in action. Brother Pena says, I don't think our tax dollars belong in religious schools, and that's my problem with it. And I know some of you feel upset about that, but it's the truth. So appreciate your opinion on that. Yeah, there's a lot of money going to. So there's a big. I just read an article about a big construction project, something that's getting ready to happen with the Jesuit school. So yeah, there's a lot of money always going to different places, and it feels like it's such a. I guess that's why. I guess if people are really passionate asking for something that's as important as childcare, help with childcare, then other political people are going to use it as a hold people hostage with it because it's such an important thing they need. You know what I'm saying?
Point.
Yeah, they'll use it like yeah. Anyway, like I said, I'm just kind of like wanted to go over that one and kind of help to understand a little bit more what's happening with those things as we reported on them before. Kind of excited to be able to tell some of the child care providers that are chat chimers that some money's coming.
Mm-hmm. Or some help.
Yeah. So, it'd be interesting. Anything off the top of your mind about this article that we can ask the senators when they come on?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, this is all tied to the special session, and this is all tied. I mean, that's really the lingering thing that's hanging over the session, and really this year. And when I think about this, I also think about robbing Peter to pay Paul. Man, the senators. I don't know if you remember, but the senators have kind of tipped us off that the state is sliding down a slippery slope. Like it is possible in the near future that the state will be broke. As far as tax dollars, it's not looking good for the financial health of the state,
Mm.
which means, things will get gutted. Programs, people, assistance will get taken away. First and foremost, as they again try to, I say rob Peter to pay Paul, but it's more like robbing the people, to pay themselves. And it is very interesting. You made the point about, some of the construction that's going on. I know I'm not quite sure if this is what you were referring to, but Creighton Prep is about to spend about $6 million on a new track and field project. And, $6 million on a new track and field project in comparison to $5 million that would have, again, gone into one of these programs to help the entire state. But apparently, Creighton Prep gets their money, but these programs don't. So, yeah, that's definitely where my mind is. Seeing how this thing plays out, following the money, if you will, and continuing to keep an eye out on how this special session and this whole tax situation will push. And it does look like a special session will be an inevitability as Governor Pillen again is going from state to state, or not really state to state, but county to county, to try to push. Again, he's had several town halls on this whole property tax situation, and he looks like he's going to continue to push. So, yeah, there's still a lot of questions, a lot of conversation, a lot of possible debate to be had to see what happens with the state's finances, because it looks like it's in shambles.
Certainly does. Appreciate your comments there. Von Chapman in the chat says, "Where's the DED money?" That's another subject. Where is the DED?
Straight up, just like that.
Good question. The Hood Table in the house. Good morning, First Guy. Appreciate you coming on in this morning, getting up early with us. Definitely check out the Hood Table on YouTube. It's a weekly show that they do on Friday that is very informative and entertaining. Shout out to the hood table for real. Tony Johnson in the chat says might be safe to assume many in favor of private donations for projects, not worried about child care situation. I really feel like they're using it as leverage. You know, it's too important of a thing. They use it as leverage. And also, I feel like we live in a state where if they can take aid away, if they can take programs away, they're really going to make that. They're really going to try to do that because they don't believe in the programs in the first place. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And I think, that point is important. I'm kind of reading through this a little bit more. And that point is important to understand political ideologies, to understand, how people view certain spending and things like that. Again, Pillin is a Republican, and Republicans are definitely against big government, big social programs. That's more of a Democratic thing. And that's kind of, I believe, the impetus behind Pillin's push for this whole property tax relief headhunt that he's on. And it is interesting that he's recognizing, according to the article, Pillin agreed that his property tax relief goals got in the way of key child care bills this session, but the governor called high property taxes the number one issue facing Nebraskans. He says, I will continue to fight for less general fund spending. Again, Republicans against big spending, a big government, cross government. He says, until we are able to cut Nebraskans' property tax bill by 40%. Negotiations around property tax relief were ongoing until the final day of the session and ultimately failed, which is, again, why I believe a special session is an inevitability. In that same day, the last day of the session, the legislature passed a $10 million proposal to fund scholarships for private school students. And that is also in question. There's actually some efforts across the state to have another petition signed to put this issue back on the ballot. If you remember, again, the bill passed last year. There was a whole petition drive over the year to get it on the ballot. That was successful. It made it on the ballot. This session, they passed another bill, and apparently there's another petition drive going on, and there's some funds tied to that as well. And again, those might be in jeopardy. Also, again, Frederickson, who's a Democrat from Omaha, actually has low expectations for the bill's first year, especially given the governor's goal to cut property taxes by 40%. But he worries that passing legislation without funding could create confusion, which, of course, it is already done. So, yeah, continue to follow the money, man. Continue to look at this situation. I don't think we're out of it as far as the whole property tax situation goes. I'm kind of curious. Again, is this something? Is the governor right? Does the governor have the pulse of the people? Some of you are homeowners. Is your property? What's the property tax situation looking like? I know some people. I think actually, Sister Erica Felt did say hers went up about $1,000. Is that does affect people's bottom line? Is this the number one issue for you? Is the governor on point with this?
No, the governor's not on point.
Straight up.
I'm sitting here thinking about like how ridiculous it sounds for the governor to say that this is the number one issue in Nebraska, property taxes. Most people in Nebraska don't even own property. How can it be the number one thing, the number one issue in Nebraska? It's the number one issue for homeowners, for people that own property, which, we know who those mostly are. It's definitely not us that live in a lower income situation. Like, how many people actually own property? And I mean, we've been reporting all year long about different entities and organizations, companies coming in from other states buying up the neighborhoods. Mm-hmm. If on the street that my family lives on, most of it is owned by a company, a development company in Kansas City, and there's only a few homeowners on that street. I don't understand it. Yes, the property taxes have gone up for them, but how can that be the number one issue for Nebraskans? Like, you don't have any other. To me, it's something that they're pushing because his people are his peers are the ones that are homeowners and landowners and need that break. If you, especially on the heels of juxtaposing with this story about this money that should go to childcare, they can't even get $5,000, but childcare is not a huge issue. It's not an issue big enough to help, but property taxes, it doesn't. It's crazy. It's crazy to hear somebody. It's crazy to hear that. Now, it makes me. Whenever I hear somebody say something, I think it's just totally crazy like that. it makes me go into this realm of like, well, let me think about it from their perspective. I guess if you're a renter, then you're renting from someone that owns the
Mm-hmm.
property. So
Mm-hmm.
maybe the property taxes being lower is going to eventually help people that are actually renting. First of all, do you really think that they're going to lower rents because of the fact that their property taxes got lowered? No, they'll probably stay at the same level. But the point is, like maybe they're thinking this is a huge issue. Maybe they're thinking this is how to solve the housing crisis that we have here. Maybe they have some more numbers and percentages and studies that they're doing that say lowering property taxes will help the housing crisis that we have here. I'm trying to give somebody benefit of the doubt with this, but it sounds crazy to me right off the bat to be like, this is the biggest issue in Nebraska, property taxes. We got to go back to, we got to have special sessions and everything else because of this. I'm not sure. Like I said, I'm old enough now to know that if something sounds totally insane, crazy to me, I might be missing some details here.
Well, there's one detail that you might be missing. Again, to your whole kind of idea or hypothesis that again, not many property owners, according to Brother Anthony Rogers writing in the chat, he says 70% of Nebraskans are property owners.
Okay, that's news to me right there. Just that part.
Man,
70% of Nebraskans are property owners. Okay,
and he actually drops a link. I guess he has receipts.
That changes the argument up a little bit. I was just thinking another thing too with the property taxes because they're so tied to schools. So maybe there's something else there that linked to your property taxes. You know, we know that if you lower property taxes, that's less money that goes to the schools. They're not really caring. You know, that makes it even worse for low income areas. You know, there's got to be a bunch of different factors here, I'm sure.
Yeah, and to that point, it is interesting because if I'm not mistaken, the state doesn't actually collect property taxes. Like you said, it goes to the schools and it goes to other local entities, libraries, schools, you know, things like that. So I kind of do wonder what is really behind this whole thing. I also think I'm kind of going along looking at the chat with T Ran and Brother Guillermo Pena. T Ran says corporate property, if you go acre for acre, it's the number one issue for the rich. And Guillermo Pena also says corporate landlords and rich farmers. Again, we do know that there are large corporations that do own a large portion of Nebraska properties. I believe Vinebrook Homes is one of the corporations that have purchased about 3,000 properties in just St. Louis, Kansas City, and Omaha alone. That's over the last year or two. So again, these major corporations also thinking about Pillin himself. Again, Pillin Family Farms, the largest farm, the pig farm operation in the state, possibly even the region. How much property does he own? How much in property taxes is he paying personally every year? So yeah, that's kind of where my mind goes. Is it really for the people or is it for personal gain?
And here's Anthony Rogers bringing it too. He says, you don't think it's a coincidence that we're lowering property taxes right when they're just past a school choice?
Man.
So yeah, it's all connected. It's all tied together some kind of way. We've been talking for years about kind of the agenda about schools and school choice. And remember when not Pillin, but Ricketts was in, and he was trying to take over the schools, and you know what I mean. There's always been some agenda here, and that I feel like there's some kind of play there. But again, I'm also thinking about. I hope that Brother Wayne comes on today because I'm also thinking about something that he said about he's not even going to go to this special session unless they are talking about funding for other stuff besides this property tax situation. So there's got to be a lot going on here that it's just that we're not even seeing all of it. And I'm glad that we're continuing to talk about it to pull out all the details here. But interesting. T. Ren in the chat says there's already a built-in tax credit for homeowners to knock some dollars off the public school. And at the end of the day, Pillin is trying to starve the state of funding. Kimber says it goes to the county and then the treasurer distributes it based on their own estimates. That's how John Ewing got into the situation a few years ago. His calculations were pretty off.
Yeah,
he was going, the calculations he was going off of was something that was a calculation in the past that had changed or something. Remember that story. Tamika Johnson says it's certainly not Nebraska's main problem. However, this property owner does not want higher property taxes. Right. At this rate, we could be paying taxes as high as the mortgage payment once retired. Woo.
Man, actually, if I'm not mistaken, I was talking to Mama God, and she said her property taxes almost tripled
Yeah.
over the last few years.
My family members of mine that own homes out here too said the same thing. So it's a little out of control. And again, where is that money going? It doesn't seem like schools are. I guess schools are making a little bit more. We just talked about them giving teachers raises. I wish I'd like to see it. I know there's got to be some transparency involved. I'd like to see what's happening with that. So I appreciate that information. That this kind of is starting to put things in perspective, like what happened with John Ewing, what goes on with the money, where it goes to the treasurer distributes it based on their own estimates. So this is kind of interesting, like what's going on here, and how did they get high in the first place? How did they triple in the first place? What happened where property taxes tripled in the first place? I don't have the answers to these questions.
Yeah, I don't know, but definitely something worth talking about, something worth being aware of, especially if you either own property or plan on owning property, which is something we believe everybody should do at some point, even if it's just an empty lot. You should own some property, but that means you're going to be paying taxes on it.
There you go. Cameron says, if I get back on the school board, I would like to be on the budget committee and the legislative committee. I would like that too, because you're going to dissect that and bring back the notes and receipts.
Man, we need it. We need it. T. Rand also says, got to keep up with inflation. Budget should always increase. And yeah, again, it seems like Nebraska is going in the wrong direction from what we're hearing.
Kind of feels like it. We're going to can take a quick break and come back and jump back into some more stories. Really, really appreciate everybody that's joining in on this discussion. I love it when we hit that stride where there's some questions and people in the chat have some expertise and are bringing in some facts and bringing in some links to go check out the facts and all that good stuff. That's when the show gets exciting for me. So I appreciate that very much. Yeah, we'll take a quick break and come back again. You're listening to First Guy Omaha Radio, First Guy Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
All Beeee, Buddi3 Da Gawd. Let's do it.
Time to get my hustle on. Hustle till the break of dawn. Do whatever makes me strong. Worry about the right and wrong. Time to get my hustle on. Hustle till the break of dawn. Do whatever makes me strong. Worry about the right and wrong. Living in the HIC. Brothers all surrounding me. Ain't no futures here. Just lives full of pain and fear. Time for a different stroke. I'm tired always being broke. Me and just about all my folks. Tired being without hope. So it's time to get my hustle on. Hustle till the break of dawn. Do whatever makes me strong.
Welcome back. Listening to First Guy Omaha Radio, First Guy Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
All Beeee, Buddi3 Da Gawd. All of you chat chimers, ghost listeners, radio listeners. Every time we look at the transcript, every time we look at the closed captions, when I'm reading back on it, they always spell it out FIRSTGUI, the first guy. I guess the first guy, how it always comes out. So we'll try to articulate that. First Sky Omaha Radio.
There you go.
Appreciate you. Pop's favorite jam. Appreciate that, Pops.
Man, yeah, it's a cold cut right there, man.
Man, feeling it too. I'm trying to get my hustle on big time.
Man. Big time. We need it. Shout out to all of you getting your hustle on this morning, going to and fro on your morning commutes or whatever it is that you do in the morning. Just thank you for doing it with us and joining the conversation, letting your mind be free, letting your voice be heard. So yeah, a lot of people in the chat already joining the conversation. So big thank you. Guillermo Pena actually kind of continuing the conversation on housing, which we'll kind of continue here. Got a few other housing stories to dive into.
Cool.
But Guillermo says, like I said, my rents were $350 a month in Grand Island. Again, talking about some property that Guillermo runs. He says I had to up them, and I have to up more since COVID. Again, kind of going back to, how are the property taxes impacting not just homeowners, but also renters, something that actually Marianne Williams is chiming up about. She says property taxes are a big pain point for Nebraskans, even renters, because those taxes are passed off to renters and rent hikes.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of seeing how that trickle down works in that regard. But again, still a valid question whether or not to what Pillin is saying is property taxes. Is it really the number one issue to Nebraskans across the state? I actually have an article here from Nebraska Examiner that was released earlier this month. Shout out to Cindy Gonzalez, always doing the good work. Yeah, man. Yeah. And she says, according to this article, the headline reads, Nebraska voter survey shows heavy support for more state investment in early learning and childcare. And this coming from a survey from the New Bridge Strategy earlier this year in January. Apparently, they interviewed about 501 registered voters from various backgrounds, political affiliations, and parts of the state. So, of course, it's not a large swath of people, but hopefully signifying and kind of representing the diverse background of the state. And according to that pool of respondents, about 80% of them said that they do agree with more childcare and early learning investment, and about half strongly agreed that Nebraska lawmakers should support childcare and early learning programs as they do for K through 12 grades in higher education. So again, where does this issue, or where do these issues kind of fall on Nebraska's hearts and minds? I'm not really sure. Sometimes surveys aren't the most accurate. Again, 501 people surveyed, not a huge number, but how closely does that represent the state versus, people saying that property taxes is a huge issue for them. So definitely not really sure, but I will say housing is something that needs to be addressed. Shout out to Chris Baby Boy Bowling. Recently, again, we kind of alluded to this article on Friday, talking about, again, the homeless situation. We're seeing renters, even in public housing situations, struggling with continuing to pay for their rent, continuing to keep a roof over their heads, and even struggling to find shelters when they are unable to find their own housing. And Chris Baby Boy Bowling actually is kind of breaking down how this is happening, saying the number of people in the Omaha metro living homeless and unsheltered has risen faster than nearly every U.S. city in the past decade. Of course, important context, Omaha's metro's total homeless population remains one of the smallest in the nation, but again, that's due to sheer size. Again, of course, we're not going to surpass areas like Atlanta, Chicago, L.A., Miami, much, much larger areas. But again, as far as percentage wise, it's pretty high. Again, the reasons of the rise of unsheltered homeless Omahans living in tents, cars, or in homeless encampments are many. Those interviewed say, according to this article, more people are avoiding shelters, and Omaha's tough housing market is pushing people over the edge. So property taxes could be tied to this. But again, the rise in unsheltered homelessness has roiled a debate about how to handle encampments. Some say clearing them prolongs people's homelessness. Others say allowing camps enables dangerous behavior. In February, Flatwater Free Press reporter Chris Baby Boy Bolin met with Ronald Busby, who, again, brother Hassani Lee actually alluded to on Friday. Again, brother Busby is a chronically homeless man living in a camp near 40th and Decatur. Flatwater Free Press spent months with him actually and his case manager to understand what unsheltered homelessness is, and again, a journey to housing looks like in Omaha in the Lord's year 2024. And basically, the biggest kind of takeaway is homelessness is costly, or as Michelle always says, being it's expensive to be poor. Poverty is expensive, as she puts it.
Yep.
Again, it reduces life expectancy, so there's a healthcare cost that goes up, and again, caring for homeless people's ailment and health concerns costs about billions each year in the U.S. healthcare system. Locally, about 20% of the Douglas County jail's population is homeless or near homelessness at any given time, and those inmates cost about $1 million per month to house. So again, it's not only costly to individuals, but costly to citizens as well.
There you go. We are a little bit late here, 8:04 right now. If you believe in the concept of time, we have the senators waiting in the wings, so we want to go ahead and bring them in. And I appreciate if you guys will continue this conversation. Maybe we can ask them some questions on these things too. But for ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, Senator Terrell McKinney and Senator Justin Wayne in the house. Good morning, fellas.
How you doing,
Morning.
Morning.
I don't think we've seen you two at the same time for a little minute now, so it's good to have you both on. Appreciate it. What's going on with you? How you guys feeling? What's happening?
I'm good. Feeling good.
Yep.
Life is good. Just coaching basketball over the weekend and fell asleep. Didn't go out and see the Northern Lights, so
Man,
watch them on YouTube.
Had a dream about them, huh?
man, how did Weatherman Wayne miss the Northern Lights, man?
You got chasing tornadoes, but the Northern Lights was too calm for you. I can tell.
Yeah, not exciting.
I needed some more excitement.
Yeah, I see.
Brother McKinney, how's the campaign going? You was out and about this weekend too, right?
Yeah, I was. Campaign has been going cool. You know, one more day and then election. So
that's what's up, man.
Yeah,
one more day.
Reminding the people tomorrow is the primary, so make sure you get out and vote and make this thing happen. Get this ball rolling. Yep. Yeah, for the people. Still for the people, man. So big shout out to Senator McKinney and his run. And okay. So man, I guess we'll kind of jump into the conversation. We're talking about some things, teeing up some questions for you gentlemen. But I guess before we get into that, is anything on top of your minds, top of your hearts that you want to talk about for the day?
Yeah, I'm gonna be having a drink tomorrow during the campaign. I ain't gotta worry about giving no speeches afterwards. I ain't gotta worry about shaking hands. It's gonna be a whiskey, some ginger, some bourbon. It's gonna be a great time just watching and not having no interest. Like, hey, I ain't gotta go shake some hands or make some phone calls. I ain't gotta do none of that. Like, it's cool.
Ready to loosen up the tie a little bit. I see you.
No last minute fundraising, no last minute phone calls, none of that.
I'm cool.
That's what's up. Okay, brother McKinney, are you worried at all? You making them last minute calls? What's going on with you?
No, I'm not worried, man. It is what it is, bro. I'm not worried. Hope everybody get out and vote. That's the biggest thing. No matter if it's for me or somebody else, making sure the community gets out to vote. That's the biggest thing.
There you go. I have been hearing a lot of support for you, so very high and hopeful for your campaign and your re-election bid. And it looks like a lot of people are along with you, knowing that you've done a lot of good work, but there's more work to be done. So a lot of people excited, and also in your district, Senator Wayne, definitely excited about Sister Spivey. Looking forward to see what she does as well. So big shout out to everybody that's been pounding the pavement and pushing forward. But I guess before we look too far forward, we're kind of still looking back, still getting information about some of these bills, still looking at, Governor Pillen on his whole world tour of the property tax situation. And maybe, you can help us clarify some things on this, exactly what is going on with this whole property tax move, this push for lower property taxes. We were just talking about before you came on a child care bill that was gutted. Again, there was some passing of some bills, but we're finding out that there was not a lot of funds put behind these bills. Can you kind of speak to that as far as what's going on with the finances statewide?
Senator McKinney, are you part of the Secret Tax Credit Coalition?
Nope.
No, there's.
Well, I'm not either, but they're meeting, and so it looks like we're gonna have a special session last week of July, first week of August. There's a couple of Democrats in the room, from what I'm hearing, to get them at 33. So I don't know what the tax situation is going to look like going forward, but it's going to be some kind of tax increase and tax shift to working people to help out the rich. So it's going to be interesting.
Man, so you kind of echoing my sentiment. I said robbing Peter to pay Paul, but it's more like robbing the people is what it's looking like. And I believe Senator Wayne, you had mentioned, or it might have been you, Senator McKinney, but one of you had mentioned that the state is on a slippery slope. Is not looking good as far as the future of the state financially. What does that mean? Are we still on that downslide? Like what exactly is behind that? And how is property taxes connected?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I jump in and just tell you that 2027, 2028, we're negative based off of current projections and current growth models. We're negative. So if they don't figure out a solution to either grow the state by about 500,000, you're either gonna have a significant cut in services or a significant tax increase in 27, 28.
And when you say 500,000, is that
People.
dollars? People. Okay.
Because there's a certain percentage of sales tax and income tax that come off of how the state grows, and so at the end of the day, if we're not growing significantly, I don't know how we do it. I mean, if you think about it, it took us 100 years to grow by 1 million people, and that's really, really slow when you look at other states. But yeah, it's 2027, 2028. It looks bleak.
And they probably end up doing both. They probably end up cutting services and raising taxes. By that time they get to where they need to get to. Cutting services is what we're talking about. Kind of feel that generally in this state anyway. It's like they want to cut services, and every opportunity to jump and do that is what I feel like is going on. You made mention, Senator Wayne, that you weren't even worried about going to a special session if they weren't going to talk about some of the things that were needed. You still hold that position?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. If we're not going to really talk about fundamental change, like what they're proposing is just a quick solution to cover this governor. But how we fund our prisons, how we fund our county jails, how we fund everything has to be on the table, and including holding states and counties accountable for sexual assault of children. Like we got to look at everything. But the big thing, you say, well, how does that fit together? Well, it fits together to me because it all deals with taxes that our people have to pay, and how we use those taxes. So the big thing for me is, like right now, the counties are funding all of our jails, but most of the people in there are on crimes that are committed at the state level. So they're either felonies or they're a misdemeanor that the legislature passed. So why is the county bearing the burden of protecting and enforcing the laws that the states are writing? We should be paying that. And that's how we change property tax relief, by taking these unfunded mandates off of individual counties and putting them back on the state.
Interesting.
Okay, because property taxes, as we're learning from, Sister Kimber in the chat, who works with the school board, she's kind of breaking down how some of that works, and it goes to the county. So kind of relieving some of the bills on the county level, from understanding what you're saying, will actually go towards the property tax situation.
Right. So the state doesn't collect any property tax. We don't collect any at all. It's all your local schools, county, city. Used to be Metro, but we got rid of that in Omaha. That's now funded by the state. But those are all, if you look at the obligations, those are all state funded or state mandated obligations. So the state should pay for it. And then we should reduce the property tax that way. But we don't want to do that. We just want to create this image that we're giving property tax relief, and then in 3 years we got to come back and do it again.
Senator McKinney, what's your thoughts on the special session going into it? Or first of all, you go into it if it happens, and then if you are, what's your agenda when you go in?
I'll probably be there, but the biggest thing for me is just what Senator Wayne was just speaking about, putting everything on the then. What can we actually do that will also bring in some creative ideas to the table, and not just recycling old ideas to reduce property taxes. I think we also should be looking at ways we could raise revenue sometime. So I'm all for putting everything on the table, and it shouldn't just be the same recycled things they just want to do to just make it seem like we actually did something, and then we'll have to come back a year from now and try to get more property tax, because what this is that they're probably trying to do ain't enough, or just doesn't work at all.
Right. As far as new ideas, I know you've, Senator McKinney, been vocal about the legalization of marijuana and what that could do as far as boosting tax revenue. Kind of seeing some changes with that federally. Whether or not Nebraska will jump on, that's still yet to be seen. But I kind of do want to bring it down to the ground level, if you will. Again, property taxes, all this tax spending, it can be kind of over a lot of people's head. If we continue on the track, what does that really mean for everyday Nebraskans? Are we, when we talk about services closing? Are we talking about schools closing, hospitals? Like what really are we in danger of?
So where the big cuts will happen is your Medicaid, services with HHS, services with, I mean, that's your big ones we usually cut. And then we always cut education or reduce it somehow. So those are the big things. And those are the things that directly impact Black, brown, poor people.
Yeah. That's what we are. I just want to let everybody know in the chat, we do have the senators here. I recognize that you guys are speaking with each other on some subjects. I appreciate that. I want you to continue to do that as well. But also, let's respect their time too. If you have questions for them or comments, let them know. Put that in the chat while they're here for sure. I think this is one of these kind of issues that I feel like is an evergreen topic for us. We've been talking about this for a while. And we're finally starting to understand, thanks to you guys, about like how things are actually working, and understanding this point about some of the state ought to be paying for some of those things. That's a huge new one for me to think of it that way. These are state mandated things, and the state ought to be paying. And there's different ways that we can adjust what kind of where the tax money are going. Senator McKinney, when in that special session coming up, do you think there's an opportunity for you to be able to put things on the table, or somebody there to put things on the table that are not the agenda for the governor right now when it happens? Will there be an opportunity to do so there at the special session?
Yeah, I think so. You just got to make sure it falls within the call of the special session. So you be creative in that respect. But I think, it'll be an opportunity. You just got to make sure whatever you put forward falls within the call of the session.
So definitely judiciary will have a recreational and medical marijuana conversation if that is allowed. I mean, if it will be allowed, because it'll go directly to property tax relief. So we'll have some votes on that.
So in that regard, as I mentioned, there are some things happening federally. Some pushing forward from the Biden administration in that. As far as your constituents, as far as your fellow senators, does that have any weight on how they look at bills as far as what's going on nationally, or are they kind of stuck in their own thinking?
I had 27 votes last session for medical marijuana. I couldn't get out of committee. Senator Bison led the Republican side of my committee to not kick it out.
And you think that's kind of still the same sentiment towards medical marijuana?
Yeah, but I'll do a poll motion in a special session, so I'll get it to the floor one way or another.
Okay. It'll be interesting to see who's changed up because of this thing, or who's doubling down. Actually, is what I'm thinking as well.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Jump in the chat real quick. Anthony Rogers writes.
Going off.
Anthony Rogers writes says, why not move to full recreational MJ and marijuana, and require a portion of the proceeds from sales to go to public schools as done in Colorado, Washington, and New York? That's how it was passed in each of those states. Do we got anything going on that's close to that kind of solution?
Well, that'll be exactly what that'd be what we're proposing to reduce property taxes is funding schools, and that'll reduce the property tax that the schools have to collect. So that's the way we would do it.
Yeah. Okay. Heather Williams is asking if the senators thought about what's happening with child care. So I know that this is kind of connected as well, because we came in with this article talking about the bills got gutted, and then we were trying to break down exactly what was going on. What are your thoughts on those things? Is this connected to this whole situation about property taxes?
Sort of. I mean, I know one of those bills y'all were discussing, it got attached to LB 164, but they took away the money. So I was in conversations about how it got negotiated to just pass it without the dollars. They just wanted to get it attached and passed, but I wasn't a part of those conversations. But I know the conversations this year was we didn't have a lot of money on the floor because they were trying to do the property taxes and the other funding for schools and things like that. So that's the conversation. But I wasn't in the negotiation.
So I was in the negotiations, and it really just came down to what Senator McKinney said, which was they couldn't find $11 million for it, so they just pulled out all the funding for it. And the argument was there was some good policy stuff in there. So that's what happened.
Okay.
But I guess what does that mean though? What's the point of passing legislation if you're not putting the funds behind it to pass it?
We do that all the time. And part of the reason is you want to establish the program, because once you establish the program, it's easier to put dollars into an established program versus trying to create the program. And so part of the reason 164 wasn't vetoed is because the governor actually wanted that child care piece, but he couldn't. I mean, it wasn't just the legislature. The governor couldn't find the money because they set so much aside for property tax relief, which at the end of the day, we didn't pass. So right now, the state has to think about an extra $317 million left over the next 2 years that was supposed to go to property tax relief that we haven't paid. We haven't done with anything with it.
So it's just unaccounted for. It just
sits there in the next biennium, which is next year. The appropriations will divvy it up how they feel fit, and it'll come to the floor for part of the budget.
They could just use it for the bills that got passed that they couldn't find money for. Couldn't just take that money and apply it to that.
So we passed this year something we never passed before that gives the governor some authority with the chairman of appropriations to make some decisions on the budget. And Senator McKinney and I were not in favor of the budget because some of that language. It's probably unconstitutional to delegate that, but it was part of this bill. But nevertheless, so they have our budget is 2 years. So you go 2 years, it's called a biennium, and then next year will be the new biennium. So next year there'll be an entire new budget that will come out for the next 2 years. And so if it's over, it just stays in our cash reserves.
Interesting.
And if it's under, then just gotta find the money.
We have a zero budget, so you can't constitutionally pass a budget that is negative.
Okay. So it has to be balanced somehow.
It has to be balanced.
Okay.
Any extra money goes into the cash reserve. Any negative money gets taken out of the cash reserve. We try to keep the cash reserve about 17 to 20% of our budget. That's about $1.3 billion that we have just sitting in cash.
It's mind blowing.
It is. It's interesting because it
may be mind blowing, but OPS got $740 million just sitting in cash.
Just sitting there. That's what I'm trying to wrap my head around. Like, if there's hundreds of millions of dollars just sitting around, why are so many people in need? Why are so many people going without?
So the argument is, let's say we have an economic downturn. You don't want to raise taxes just to keep government functioning. So it's kind of like your savings account. You want to just have it as a backup to draw down, and we call it a rainy day fund. What I can't figure out is why OPS has $740 million in a rainy day fund. That one I'm struggling with,
especially while it's raining.
Especially when we don't have 3 schools in North Omaha with special education.
Right.
So that part I'm confused about. But think about that. For an entire state, we have 1.3. And for Omaha, just public schools, we got 740 million, 700 million roughly.
Brother McKinney, you was about to say something about it being political?
Yeah, go ahead.
Also say it's, political will too,
Mm-hmm.
People that actually want to use the money for more of what's right than what's wrong, I guess.
And that's one of the major lessons that I got from you guys coming on. You guys have really taught me that there's always money out there in different pockets and areas and places. It's the political will to use the money for certain things, and that's why we are, we're stuck on this idea that we live in a state that really wants to get rid of services, and they're always looking for an opportunity to do that. It seems like to me, especially when we hear about all these reserves, all this money that's sitting around, and and bills passing that are not getting funded. It's so crazy. The political will is really the thing, and this is the reason why we got to get people in seats, which is again why you should definitely hit the primaries tomorrow. Get the right folks in the seats that have the political will, and then brothers like y'all that are in there trying to have these conversations and have these relationships move into some understanding. It seems like I said, man, I don't envy you guys on this. I couldn't do this job. I couldn't do it. Like
Man,
it's
it's a lot. It's
too
a
many
lot.
moving parts for us, bro.
And it doesn't pay enough. That part. I did want to jump into something though from the chat that's kind of along these lines as far as following the money and political will and things like that. Our brother Von Chapman is asking, where's the DED monies? He says, without those monies, Black Omaha won't be able to afford to pay attention, rent or buy in so-called affordable homes. We've been pretty candid and transparent that we're in this whole DED process. It's been now going on 6 months. We still ain't seen a check.
Nobody
This
seen
whole
it.
process. As far as where this stands, what are y'all thoughts? Has anybody received any funds from this whole Economic Recovery Act? What is going on right now?
I mean, I know a few people that have received some dollars, but everybody else I talked to are still going back. A lot of people I've talked to are going back and forth with them on contract. So that's probably what slowed it down too. Is just because the issue is some of the language in those contracts was really not the greatest. So a lot of people have been going back and forth with them to clean up the language. So that's been it. But I believe Charles Drew received some money already.
Oh, okay.
I think Malcolm X, and it's a couple others that slip in my mind.
I didn't know that. Okay, I thought nobody got no money yet. All right.
Some people have. It's just not everybody yet.
Okay. Von Chapman asks this all the time when he know good and full well where that money's at. It's sitting at the DED. We ain't got it yet. and we long past understood, the conversation between you guys and the DED is not a thing. So yeah, all we can keep doing as far as we're concerned is keep jumping through these hoops until that money becomes available, I guess. But yeah, I'll keep on reaching out to them to come on and talk and tell us where the money's at, but haven't been successful with that. So I don't know. I appreciate that. Appreciate your questions and comments there. Also, somebody in the chat was asking about, I'm trying to find, no, here it is. Marion Williams, question for senators. How does decriminalizing marijuana on a federal level affect Nebraska? Kind of talked about that a little bit. What do you guys are seeing this effect?
So once that happens, once they go through their rulemaking authority at the federal level and move it to a Schedule 3, I think they are, then it becomes prescribable. So people can actually go get a medical prescription. And what we have always done, so it's going to be interesting, is we have always done what we consider the cleanup bill, where we just mirror the federal government changes in their Controlled Substance Act. This is the first year we didn't do it because Senator Bosden tried to attach it to a bill that I successfully killed, and so it just hung out there. But we always, every year, it's a bill that comes in. We just clean it up. It's never a controversial bill, and that it'll be interesting because this might be the first time this becomes controversial.
Anthony Rogers right in the chat reminding us it is not decriminalized at the federal level and won't be for some time. So the laws have changed. So again, that if it's a situation where our state will follow that, that'd be interesting. If not, like you said, might be controversial. This is the first time that might not happen. That'll be interesting to see. So first of all, understanding exactly what happened with Biden in this law is something that we probably better look back into. But also, what is it going to mean for us? I've been predicting for years it's going to be the last state that it's going to be the last state that finally legalizes. Yeah. It feels like they rather catch people with it and throw them in and build more jails to throw them in around here than it feels. Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, the voters voted for it and the Supreme Court shot it down.
We had a petition. I mean, there's another petition out now, but that's going to continue, in my opinion, to happen here and there as this fight. I don't know. It's just like gambling in my regards. Once property taxes got high enough that they were like, oh, we're going to pass gambling for property tax relief. That seems to be the number one issue out in Western Nebraska. And that's where we always have to tie stuff to. And I think if we do that too, we'll be fine.
There you go. One more question. Tony Johnson in the chat is asking, I think, about you, brother Senator McKinney, on aligning with Jane Cleave and her organization. I think we talked about this a little bit last time you were here, right?
I don't know if we did. It's just working for Bold Alliance. The main purpose for the position is to help community members organize and around the OPPD coal plant, make sure they get that off the line, and try to make sure there are some things going forward that actually benefit the community coming from OPPD, and helping community members advocate for themselves. I don't. My position is to come in like my leader or anything like that. It's really help that already are happening.
I'm sorry, you breaking up a little bit, man. Say that one more time.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Where did I leave off from?
Well, just the kind of the last part you said, as far as your job is to advocate, and you kind of broke up there.
Oh no, my job is really just to be an advocate for the community. Along with, it's not to be a leader of people or something like that. It's really those efforts.
Okay, so advocacy, which is
it's
what you do. Is that?
I mean, we're sitting here talking about property tax and things like that, but like one board, OPPD board, that organization is going to hurt more folks in our community than anybody else. And here's why I say that: we are, over the next 5 to 6 years, we're going to have significant increases in our electrical costs. And you think about rent, even if you're renting, you gotta get that electricity in your name, right? You still got to pay that. And that's because we have cut deals with Googles and Facebooks to build these data plants and to build these data centers at a low rate, a premium rate. And that's all being shifted over to the owner, to the everyday person, the residents. And so that's one thing we got to figure out. And by the way, we still pay taxes on electricity. We're one of the few states left in the country that pay taxes on electricity.
Wow.
And I bring that bill every year. This year it had some legs, but I ain't never seen OPPD come down and really support it and rock it with me. So I would just tell you, be careful, because they are going to be raising a lot of our rates around here.
Man,
that's unfortunate to hear.
Also, to that point, Brother Anthony Rogers, right in the chat, also says, does Senator Mckinney support using carbon capture technology for the OPPD coal plant and the dangers associated with it? He says, because that is what Bold is proposing. Are you familiar with that, aware, or?
No, I haven't seen that proposal. I've heard of some discussions about carbon pipeline, stuff like that, but nothing as far as carbon capture technology with OPPD. That hasn't been discussed in any meetings I've been in thus far.
Okay. So there you go, Brother Anthony Rogers, right?
Yeah, it's chat's going off. I like that everybody's definitely jumping into questions on these things. I appreciate everybody's questions on the stances on these things. Wanda Lewis is saying, don't forget about the sewer separation project.
Yeah.
Also, Mama Guy said a new petition out for reproduction choice rights. When will that be on ballot of signature thresholds are met?
So I saw in the chat about a solar, and that's just an interesting concept. And I'm all for green energy and clean energy, trying to figure it out. But you got to ask, where do you put the solar? And who's going to give up their land to have these big solar fields in, right? So now you're talking about taking people's property and things like that. And you say, well, you can put on a whole bunch of houses. Well, we don't have the infrastructure to do that. So think about the lines going from your pole to your house or to your apartment building. That's a one-way, well, it's two-way line, but it ain't really there or thick enough, I guess is the easiest way to say it, to generate power back, right? So like you talking about, you got to build a whole new infrastructure. And then who pays for that? Our community, our people. So it's kind of easy to say, let's just do solar, let's just do this and this, but it's like, where, right? Like, who's going to take out blocks and put up solar plants? Who's going to take out acres and put up these solar fields? I'm not saying it's not a bad thing. I just think we got to think more strategically and in depth about how, when, and where.
There's a lot of programs around the country, including California, that pay people to use their land for those entities as well. So and it's hard for me to imagine that Nebraska would do that,
especially when you don't get as much sunlight.
Yeah. More to it. So anyway, yeah. as you can see, lots of questions, lots of things to talk about. As far as the fact that we're in the primaries coming up tomorrow, of course, we're encouraging everybody to go participate there. And a lot of these things I think might happen, might get solved. As a matter of fact, like Brother McKinney, Senator McKinney, if you when you get reelected, what are some of these things that you can see in the chat right now that people are talking about that are on your agenda that you're going to continue to push for?
I mean, for sure, make sure DD does the right thing and make sure dollars get to the community. Look at how we can make sure some of these child care programs get funded going forward. So I mean, for me, it's continuing to try to find dollars to bring back in North Omaha. Also, we still got to do more on the criminal justice side of things. I'm on a sentencing task force. We'll be doing a lot over the interim and trying to figure out how to fix that problem with sentencing and those things that come with that. Healthcare, so and education. I see a lot of comments about education. I ain't gonna dive deep into what y'all talking about,
Man,
but but the biggest thing, honestly speaking, is kids in North Omaha for 30 years have been performing the lowest in public schools. We have to figure out a solution to fix that problem. That's what we have to do as a community. No matter where you stand on this scholarship thing or whatever, at the core of it, we got to figure out why kids in our community have and are scoring the lowest and performing the lowest in school, and we got to some type of way. And everybody should have, and nobody's opinion is wrong. I mean, we all at the core of it want kids from North Omaha to successfully, navigate through the school system and graduate and be great adults in life. So, I mean, the biggest thing is just we got to find a solution. It's obvious people don't feel like this solution, this addressed it or this addressed it. So I think we have to get together as a community and figure out how we're gonna make sure our kids stop performing the lowest.
And I have a second question about that too. How can we get our kids to score higher? But how come there's a bunch of cash reserves sitting around in the school system that is not being put to some of these problems? Because the first thing we think is let's throw some money at the problem, but if there's already money there, yeah. I mean, I'm not asking you to answer that. I'm just saying that's my question for that. Yeah.
I'm along with you, Paul, and
I mean, I would say the honest thing is don't push OPS like we should. Everybody talks stuff about OPS and the problems, but we need more people showing up to school board meetings. Things like that. Like if we ever want to change, that's part of it. Is people showing up present and holding their feet to the fire. They get away with a lot because we not pushing them like we should.
Well, let's start with
public and they say they care about the kids, but how many people are actually getting off a line and actually showing up?
There you go. Start with getting Sister Cameron on the board. Remind people she's running for board and says she wants to be on that budget committee, so that can go a long way. I did have one last question. I know we're running long on time, but this is something that's pretty heavy, and we're kind of teeing it up. This federal probe. Apparently, the Department of Justice is asking questions and planning some town halls, investigating the state for their use. Apparently, they've got some complaints from individuals saying that there's not enough mental health services or there's some gaps in mental health services. And again, there's a Department of Justice town hall that'll be going on tomorrow. Have you heard of this story? And what are your thoughts as far as mental health in the state? And maybe Senator Wayne, you could start. I know you had a PTSD bill that you were pushing and things like that. So, what are your thoughts?
I think it's just an initial gathering of just trying to figure out kind of some basics in the beginning of what's really going on. But I think we're at a mental health crisis in Nebraska. And that started about 10, 15 years ago with defunding mental health and breaking up the regional hospitals or creating the regional hospitals and getting away from the county level. But I also think, while they're here, I'm going to do my best to have them start probing the school systems, what they're doing with special ed and the thing and behavioral health inside the schools. I think is just is where it starts, in my opinion. So it starts there, and then as students get older, it gets worse. And so now we have prisons and jails that are housed with 80% of the people who have mental health issues, and we don't have nowhere else to put them. So I think there needs to be a federal investigation, not just into mental health at the state level and the county level, but it needs to be at the school level too.
Wow. Okay. What's the you, Senator McKinney, on that?
I can't disagree. Mental health is a big issue, especially in the criminal justice system, and the lack of services or the lack of real efforts to try to address it is the biggest issue. We got a county that's sitting on, I think last I knew was $50 million that was supposed to go to mental health that came from ARPA, and I don't know what they're doing with it. Nobody's pushing them. Nobody's showing up to say nothing to them, so they get away with it. But I think mental health is a huge issue, especially not just in criminal justice system, but as Senator Wayne stated, in our schools. We got kids that deal with stuff, and a lot of the kids that they're deeming bad or they need to suspend are kids that are dealing with things at home and in a home. And because we don't have the services we need to give to those families and those kids, you see what happens in the schools, and then eventually you see it in the juvenile justice system, and then you see them in prison.
Yeah, I also think the DHHS in this, and how many of individuals in the child welfare system and these foster homes and things, how many of them are dealing with mental health issues, and what services are they getting? So, so it sounds like this you believe this investigation is warranted.
Yeah, especially anybody that is in the foster care system. I think that should be an automatic thing given is some mental health or some therapy.
Yeah, I mean, you're dealing with a broken family. That's trauma off top. So, yeah.
I appreciate your insights on that for sure. I am also very excited that there's going to be some investigation here, and I feel like I wanted to hear what you guys had to say on that as well. So I appreciate you bringing that question up, buddy. Yeah, we're going to let you guys get up out of here, man. It's 8:42 right now. Brother Wayne got his suit on, which means he's going to work today. So gotta let him get busy. Appreciate you guys coming on. Any final words and things you want to leave us with before you guys get out of here?
Just get out and vote.
Get out and vote.
Get out and vote. That's it.
Tomorrow's the day, y'all. Tomorrow's the day.
Tell your family too, and your friend.
Yeah. Everybody in the household.
And take your ID.
Oh yeah.
Even if it's expired, they still accept those as long as it has your name and your picture.
Yep.
Yeah, man. All right. Appreciate you, man. Good luck tomorrow.
All right.
And we'll catch up with you guys shortly. Appreciate you guys coming on through this morning.
Man, peace and love.
Peace.
All right, there you go. Brother Senators Terrell McKinney, Justin Wayne. Man, always a pleasure to talk to them and get some insights on that. I tell you, one of the things that has allowed me to learn the most is having those brothers on a regular basis that way, and being able to talk to them. So
yeah, man.
Yeah.
That's huge. That's huge.
I learn a lot all the time.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Let's take a quick break. You kind of smell the coffee beans, and we gather. And when we come back, I do want to dive into this story from Omaha World Herald again. Federal probe into the state's mental health services. Apparently, they've been receiving some complaints. Let's talk about it.
All right, we'll be right back. First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
Yep. Stay tuned, y'all. Welcome back. You're listening to First Sky Omaha Radio, First Sky Omaha in the morning. Paul B, Buddi3 Da Gawd, all of you, appreciate you guys hanging with us this long. It's 8:44 right here in Omaha, Nebraska. If you believe in the concept of time, supposed to be kind of half cool, half rainy, half decent weather today. So take your raincoat and umbrella wherever you go if you're going out. But take care of yourselves and always check on everybody. We're still in that season. We might get another one of them crazy tornadoes or something. You never know,
man.
Gotta watch out.
Man, speaking of that, man, thoughts and prayers goes out to my fellow Rattlers, man. My alma mater, Florida A&M University, was hit with a tornado over the weekend. Yeah, man, like
really?
campus took a direct hit, man. I was kind of looking at some of the videos, some of the pictures, buildings torn up, signs knocked down, rubble, debris all over campus. From what I heard, no, real loss of life or anything like that, but the campus was hit, man. So definitely. Thoughts, prayers goes out to all my fellow Rattlers out there. Again, Florida A&M hit, and it seems like again it's been going across the nation, man. So y'all be careful out there, y'all. Please be careful.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow.
Yeah.
I kind of saw some of the aftermath too, just looking at some of these videos and stuff out of Lincoln. And,
yeah, man.
I had no, when it's happening, it seems crazy, but if it don't come through your path, then you don't know how bad it is until you watch the aftermath. So it was interesting seeing some of this footage. Like, whoa.
Yeah, man.
Okay. Shout out to Weatherman Wayne for standing out on the I-80, showing us what was up. But it was it was even bigger than that in some places. Yeah. It was a trip. So yeah, we biggest one in Nebraska history apparently.
Man, yeah, people still trying to put back the pieces, man. So yeah, prayers, and prayers going out to everybody dealing with that situation. But yeah, man, just about 15 minutes left in this show. Just wanted to, put that down real quick. But let's go ahead and jump into this next story. Again, kind of teeing it up, as you heard, as we finished up our conversation with the senators, a big investigation coming towards the state of Nebraska in regards to mental health. And something that you all should be aware of, and actually some opportunity to help with the investigation. I know this is something that hits close to home. As I've said several times here on the show, I have family members who deal with mental health issues. Actually, several family members that deal with mental health issues, struggling with, getting the medications and services that they need. But apparently it's not just my family members, but several people throughout the state of Nebraska. Actually, so much so that people have begun to complain, and now there is an investigation from the Department of Justice, and federal attorneys will visit Nebraska this week to look into complaints that people with severe mental illness struggle to get the services they need to live and work in the community. This coming out of the Omaha World Herald. The visit is part of an ongoing probe by the Department of Justice. That's according to Diane Dallaire, who's the legal services director for the Disability Rights Nebraska, which is an organization that protects and advocates for the rights of people with disabilities. She says the department has been investigating whether Nebraska is complying with federal laws such as the ADA, also known as the Americans with Disabilities Act, which requires that people with disabilities be served in the most integrated setting. So i.e. things like, again, some of the attacks that have happened at mental health facilities in Lincoln, even as we just talked about with the senators' programs and OPS closing, again, for the students with mental health disabilities and just dealing with mental illnesses, not getting the services that they need. And apparently that is all wrapped up into this government probe. During this trip, Dallaire says the team of attorneys will hold town hall meetings in 4 places across the state to hear from people who have had experiences with the mental health system. That experience could also be as a person with mental illness, a family member, or a service provider, or others. The team is also seeking emails from people who can't make it to the meetings. So again, if you can't make it to this meeting, but this is something that has impacted you or a loved one, please chime up. This is a fact-finding event, as Senator Wayne kind of alluded to. They are trying to get a sense of gaps in services. During previous visits, Nebraska said the teams has gone to assisted living facilities and other places where people with severe mental illness often end up. those places have been criticized in the past for substandard living conditions, for abuse, neglect, and even mismanagement. One of which in 2018, alluding to the death of a veteran at a troubled facility in Palmer, Nebraska, prompted the creation of a legislative oversight committee. The woman died following 3 days of uncontrollable vomiting and diarrhea that was left untreated. That facility ultimately closed its doors after state officials revoked its license. But several similar facilities remain open, including the facility in Lincoln that I just alluded to, excuse me, in which year by year, a volunteer advocate for a man with mental illness, the advocate told of finding filthy stairs that reeked of urine, a shared bathroom with the toilet black with grime, and a room that lacked window coverings, bed sheets, blankets, or pillows. And that's just tip of the iceberg. Again, lack of staffing has led to unsafe working conditions, not just for the individuals who are seeking the service, but those rendering the service, the employees, haven't been safe as well. Dallaire described the facilities as many institutions where residents are isolated from the community and do not get the help needed to recover and live in more independent settings. Again, making them feel like they're a part of society is really just rooms and beds, which we've been talking about with a lot of these openings, more beds and less service. According to Dallaire, she says these places are symptoms. It's an institutional living, but on a smaller scale in the community. And she also says Nebraska, like many states, curtailed the use of state psychiatric hospitals for the care of people with severe mental illnesses, but did not allow or follow through with creating the services needed to help people transition to successful community living. So again, as a result, people end up in jails, which now you see how Nebraska becomes one of the most overcrowded prisons in the nation, because they're not helping people with mental illnesses, treating them all like Nico Jenkins and just throwing them behind bars, or throwing them really 6 feet deep in the case of brother Zachary Beeee, who had a fatal encounter with Omaha police back in 2017. Of course, Beeee, who was experiencing a mental health crisis, died after being shocked with a stun gun. So again, to say the state does not really know or is not really capable of assisting our brothers and sisters with mental health seems to be an understatement. And again, what will come from this investigation, what can come, apparently a similar investigation happened in North Carolina several years ago, which concluded with a report finding that the state was not compliant with ADA, which I think many, can say about Nebraska not being compliant with ADA, which ultimately led to a warning that a lawsuit would follow if the state did not agree to comply voluntarily. So again, similar outcome can happen from this investigation. Again, this is a fact-finding situation, so we'll continue to look out. But there will be an opportunity to share your stories tomorrow at Metropolitan Community College, the Fort Omaha campus at 3 p.m. I believe 3:30 actually. Let me pull up those details. But again, 3:30 tomorrow will be an opportunity at Metro to have your voices heard and kind of give your information and share your stories on this whole situation. But that's really it. Paul, you got any input on that?
Yeah. Well, no, not really any input on that. I appreciate that article. I'm glad to hear that. I like what Wanda Lewis says, that she says that should include mental illness when it comes to dealing with law enforcement issues also. There's a lot of different issues that can benefit from bringing somebody in on that. Also, while we're talking about Brother Beeee, just want to remind people the 7th annual prayer walk is happening. Man, I can't believe it's been 7 years.
Man,
Saturday, June 1st from 2 to 6. They meet at the bus station 2 p.m. and walk the same route that Brother Beeee took to the Speedy Mart for a vigil to call out police brutality to indigenous people. So prayer walk is happening, 7th annual. Zachary Beeee, put that on your calendar for June the 1st. If you can make it, that'd be great. Zachary Beeee, October 29th, 1987 to June 5th, 2017, murdered by Omaha police. Man. Straight up. So, yep. Also, okay, yeah. You want to put that in the chat there?
Yeah, this is again, we're posting the email and the meeting information for those who can make it. Again, the meeting is tomorrow at 3:30 at the Metropolitan Community College Fort Omaha campus, Building 10, Room 110. Again, that's at 3:30 in Building 10, Room 110 at Metro. And if you cannot make it, I see some people in the chat saying, wow, most people are at work. Yes, that's definitely my thoughts about the timing, but you can call the number 202-598-5668, or you can email nicole.zietler@usdoj.gov. That email is in the chat.
Right on. Appreciate you reporting, buddy. Always good to hear your perspective on these things as well. Appreciate that very much.
Thank you.
And appreciate everybody in the chat that is bringing things up too. Von Chapman says, don't forget about Ernest Jackson's illegal and continued incarceration.
Yep.
Can't forget about that. He's not free. Still not free. So we're in situations where we need to stay diligent on all these things, but appreciate that very much. And also, it's an interesting fact that was discussed today that I had not really considered so much, and it's this mental health crisis that we've been in. I believe Senator Wayne talked about we've been in for the last 10, 15 years when they gutted some funding back then on this, and it's just been downward spiral ever since. So yeah, big issues to stay up with for sure. I appreciate everybody's comments. It's 8:55 right now. If you believe in the concept of time, before we get out of here, I definitely want to bring up the fact that, we've been working with Land Bank a little bit lately. They do have this Reignite to Unite coming up. Okay. We still got some information here. Let's put the town hall up. That's the information for the town hall tomorrow.
Yeah, part of the HAPS.
There we go. Part of the HAPS. It's the information for the town hall tomorrow. I'm sorry, I took the T off the heat. The town hall will be at 3:30 p.m. Tuesday, May 14th at the Metropolitan Community College Fort Campus, 10 room 110, 32nd and Sorensen Parkway. Appreciate that information there. Definitely participate in the town hall if you get a chance to go over there. Might be a good thing to speak up with. As far as this Reignite to Unite Omaha Developer Symposium is happening June the 6th, 2024. Had a very interesting conversation with our contact over there at the Land Bank, and the moves that have been made. I'll be talking about this in weeks to come, but there's been some moves that's made. We've been very critical of the Land Bank for a while, and they heard that, and they brought on some folks, and one person in particular that we're actually going to have on the show pretty soon. Made some big moves on trying to have a better reach out to the community. And so this is some of the things that they were doing. And like I said, I've been a part of some of these meetings and watched them sit and take notes for with the things that we were saying needs to happen with this very, very important piece of very important government entity, really. The Omaha Municipal Land Bank that owns so much land in North and South Omaha. Anyway, they're having a symposium on June the 6th, and we encourage everybody to go to this. This is put together with Wells Fargo and Spark. We have some friends at Spark as well, so we appreciate them doing that. But this is gonna be very interesting situation here. They're partnering with Spark CDI, hosting the inaugural. So this is the first of many coming up. Reignite to Unite Omaha Developer Symposium presented by Wells Fargo June 6th at Metropolitan Community College for Culinary Arts. Symposium will encourage participants to play a productive role in the transformation of formerly vacant and abandoned properties into community assets. Resources provided at the symposium will touch on the intersection of land activation, housing, and economic development. The one-stop shop feel of the event will encourage small-scale development that addresses our affordable housing demands, strengthens neighborhoods, and generates wealth. Just a side note, I do feel like that what the Land Bank is doing is taking on a lot of things that weren't in their mandate to do in the first place, but they're doing them because we've asked for them. And so when I'm reading some of these things that they're putting together, like this one-stop shop idea, that's where that is coming from, as far as I'm concerned. Specialized tracks and workshops during the symposium will immerse participants in hand-on learning activities that will result in actionable proposals that can be used to apply for land bank lots for future development. That's exciting to hear about as well. We did some of these things in the class that I was in, and they were just kind of hypotheticals. So the fact that these are going to be proposed, that the exercise can end up in proposals this time. If you're ready to go ahead and take that step into the land, that would be a great thing to do. So the symposium luncheon will feature a State of Omaha housing address, land bank ambassador's graduation, Following the lunch, participants and developers will have a chance to pitch their proposals. So this will be a good opportunity to pitch those ideas for those vacant lots next to you, which will be great. Omaha Municipal Land Bank will also share updates for the lot transformation shovel ready project. So they have some certain properties involved that they have gotten shovel ready, so that you can skip that cost. Really is lowering the cost on your entry to buying land in your neighborhood. So early bird pricing available until June 1st. Tickets can be purchased via Eventbrite. I'm gonna go ahead and put that link in the chat as well, so you can register and get your tickets for this symposium. But we highly encourage everybody to be a part of these things. Like I said, even if you're not quite ready to buy land, it's going to be a situation where it's a good idea to get this information to get your wheels turning on proposals and everything else. So Reignite to Unite Omaha Developer Symposium is happening June 6th, 2024. Brought to you by Spark CDI, Land Bank, Wells Fargo. Highly encourage you check this out, and hit the link and get some more information, and also get your tickets and check it out. I think this is going. They're making an effort here. We always are calling folks out like, hey, got to do more. Reach out to the people. You have to do more, and it seems like to me, Land Bank is doing that. So we appreciate working with them on that and seeing where we can get. Man, I want to look up by next year. And we have a lot of people living in our neighborhoods buying up parts of the neighborhood as well.
Man, you got to talk about making change in the hood, and keeping the good in the hood. You can't do that as a renter. It's just you don't have as much power as a property owner. So let's get some property out there, and also it might be a lot more accessible than you might think. So look into it. As Paul said, get your wheels turning.
Very true. Appreciate it. 9:01, 1 minute past our agreed time to shut this down. So we're going to go ahead and get on up. Unless you got anything else you wanted to throw out there before we get out of here, buddy?
Two things to run past the people. Of course, again, reminding everybody about this investigation that's going on and the opportunity to make it to Metro. So if you can do that, 3:30. Also reminding people that tomorrow is not just that meeting, but the primary. So make sure we're getting to our the polling places. Make sure we're voting. Again, several possible changing of the guards, especially in North Omaha. Again, Senator McKinney, his seat is up for election. Of course, there's a few other people running, and then also Senator Wayne is term limited, so there will be another senator stepping in to his seat as well, and you have the opportunity to kind of get that ball rolling and pick who you want. So again, we talked about it several times. You kind of know where we are in this. We know what you have to do, what your position in all of this is. We talked about it enough here on the show, and tomorrow's the day to get it done. So let's stand on business tomorrow, as they say. Make sure that's happening, and also make sure you're aware of what's going on with the voter ID situation. Again, school IDs, tribal IDs, passports, all of those things are valid. But hopefully you just have a driver's license, and even if it is expired, as long as it has your name and picture, that should be good enough. So again, make sure we're aware of that, and we're not getting turned away because of ID situation, and make sure your people are aware as well. That might not be listening to the show. If you got family members, loved ones, friends that are going to vote, make sure everybody's prepared. So there is that, and then also, last but not least, before we get out of here, this petition. Definitely got to let the people know about this petition, which is actually over halfway to its goal already. This is coming out of change.org. The petition reads, "Imminent danger to public health request." This is apparently a request to address the OHA situation. This is directed to the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, i.e. HUD. The petition reads, "Omaha citizens, the elderly, the poor, the low income, the black and brown, and the mentally unstable are living in very uninhabitable, unhealthy conditions, i.e. filth, pest-ridden, bed bugs, mice, and rat-infected, and mold infestation. We, the undersigned, request a full investigation into the Omaha Housing Authority management team, a full financial audit, removal of Joni Poor, the current CEO of the Omaha Housing Authority, and that an interim manager be installed until a thorough governmental investigation is completed." So again, if you've been hearing the whole story behind Brother Hassani Lee and many other tenants who are living in similar conditions, you definitely want to step up and get a part of this petition to get this problem solved finally, man. So again, the goal is 200 signatures. They're at about 120 now.
Wow.
So if that's again, well on to their way to having that petition signed. So we just dropped the link in the chat. Again, if that's something that you're interested in, go ahead and sign.
There you go. We put the link in the chat for you to go ahead and sign that petition. Again, shout out to everybody who put this on Friends of First Guy Omaha. Shout out to Sherman Wells, Shawnee Hernandez, and everybody who was promoting this as well in order for us to kind of get this happening, which is, I think, the reason why they're over half already. So, there's not a lot of signatures to get here, especially for as many people that's been following us in particular with this story, but also the story that's been out there in general on the mainstream and so on and so forth, and all the work that people like Cheryl Weston is doing, Sherman Wells is doing, and everybody else is doing. So we appreciate that very much. Appreciate everybody that's joined in on that one, and I highly encourage you to go ahead and hit that change.org link and sign that petition. This is exactly the actions that I think we all agree are needed in this situation, in this really hard situation that we've listened to and been a part of. And that brother Hassani Lee is a hero, big way. So hopefully some big change will be coming from that. We appreciate that very much. Thank you very much for that. And with that said, we're going to go ahead and get out of here. It's about 5 minutes after 9. Appreciate you guys joining us. Pops in the chat said thank you for another great show. Love to my First Guy fam, and see you all Wednesday. Appreciate that very much. If you miss any parts of this show, you can go back and check it out in its entirety on Facebook and YouTube, and check out the chats. Lots of stuff going on in the chat today. Lots of back and forth today. The chat is, we definitely want to encourage you guys to be speaking to each other, but we also want to encourage us to all speak and get on the same page on certain topics as well, so we can kind of make sure that we are all understanding what's going on, especially when we have guests on. So we appreciate that very much and appreciate you. And we'll go back and check out the chats and see what's going on, get a feel for everyone's thoughts on the different subjects, and be able to have a conversation about them another day. So that's what we're here to do. So again, appreciate your participation. Buddy, you got some final words for the people?
Yeah, big shout out again to the senators for stopping through. Also, shout out to Brother Kasim, Captain Q. Apparently he was on the road, so we really couldn't get the tech together. But he stopped by and try to speak to us. So thanks for the attempt. Thanks for keeping us in your mind. And thank you to all of you, the chat chimers, for letting us again have a conversation with you. Thank you for joining the conversation, having a lot of great questions, a lot of great input, kind of even talking amongst yourselves, which is all right. That's how we get down to the bottom of things. So again, we appreciate you. We love you. We thank you. And catch the same time, same place, man. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday right here on First Guy Omaha in the morning. In the meantime, between time, Paul B.
Yo.
Take it away, man.
Yeah, Mama God is asking, did you mention need donations to get this on the ballot? Not sure which thing you're talking about. Get on the ballot.
Sure.
Yeah, let us know. But appreciate all the comments and questions as well. Something else I was getting ready to talk about on that. Well, yeah, we'll go ahead and continue that. Like I said, definitely go back and check out the chats and see what's being said here. And we'll definitely do that ourselves and come back and pick up the discussion another time. Also, a special guest coming on Wednesday, Elijah, will be in the chat with us talking about Joy Fest coming up, which is going to be a seriously really cool event.
Man,
good tickets are on sale now. Most definitely go get your tickets for Joy Fest. It's going to go off with the legendary Terrace Martin coming through. So definitely get your tickets for that, man. We're going to try our best to be around for this. Joy Fest is going down. Legendary Terrace Martin in town. And shout out to Elijah for all her efforts putting this on, and all of the people that sponsored the show, so we can have a really, really cool show and bring out some real artists. It's gonna be great. Appreciate that. Also, I want to give a shout out to Sherman Wells. He hit me up. That's what I was trying to remember. Sherman Wells hit me up during the show today and said that there was some stuff going on with the family. So thoughts and prayers with the fam. Appreciate that he thought about coming on, but was kind of caught up and let us know what was going on. So shout out to him. Shout out to Brother Kasim, who also hit me and said, he's on the road, so his reception is bad. So we'll hopefully catch up with those brothers next week and continue to talk to them. But thanks for allowing for that to happen, allowing for them to come in when they can. That's what we're doing around here.
Yeah, and to Mama God, no, that petition, the OHA petition, you might be thinking about the school choice situation, which is something completely different. No. That petition is just a petition. It has nothing to do with the ballot or a vote. That's asking for an investigation. So,
this change.org link that's going to go to investigation of the OHA of the OHA. Yeah, okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yep. Got it.
No donations, no ballot, none of that.
All right, we're going to get out of here because I was up late last night hanging out with the dude.
Man, look at that.
Man, brother came in town and blew everybody away, man. And I will say one little thing about this show that happened last night, Kamasi's show. Kamasi came into town and I sat next to a very nice white couple from Lincoln that came to the first show at the Slowdown, loved it, and decided when they found out he was back in town, immediately bought the VIP tickets.
Man,
and got a hotel room and drove down and was going to see the show, and then spend the night in the hotel, make a night of it.
Man,
and I did, and that was juxtaposed by 3 young white dudes that thought I was in the band, so they came over to me and trying to talk to me, trying to get backstage, and after questioning them, realized they didn't even know who Kamasi was, or why you guys was in there trying to plot. I don't know. It was a strange crowd. And then of course I saw some of us peppered in, and I saw like Mark Manor on the side, and Brother Rayford was there, and so it was a weird mix. It was a weird mix, but that's what these brothers are bringing out. And shout out to the Slowdown for having the guts to bring out a Kamasi Washington, a Thundercat. These cats, only guys in town doing that. So we appreciate them very much. And they came in and sold out, killed the show. And super dope, man. You're talking about world-class musicians, world-class movement of jazz happening all around the world. And it came to Omaha, and it came to downtown, and that's what it is. When I feel lucky when I witness things like that here in Omaha, coming from California where these things are commonplace, coming out here and wondering if I was going to be able to keep up with the culture that's happening. Stuff like this makes me feel like we are. So shout out to Omaha, and shout out to these brothers coming to Omaha, having this relationship with Omaha, and coming back to Omaha happily because they have such a good time and a good turnout and a good group of people that support them when they come. So shout out to them, and they're on their way to Houston. If you're listening in the Texas area, go check out Houston. If you're in the Houston area, go check out Kamasi. He's coming. It's on the road.
Check him out.
All right, we're going to get out of here with that said. Appreciate everybody very much coming through. Shout out to the Omaha Tribe elders for allowing us to be on this land and speak while we're here. Shout out to our elders for allowing us to speak before you. And shout out to you, the chat chimers, allowing us to speak with you, even when you're speaking amongst yourselves. So appreciate you being on the show. And again, if you missed any parts of this, go back and check it out and read the chats. It's where all the action's at, for sure.
Man.
Yep. With that said, we're going to go ahead and get out of here. You ready, buddy?
Yeah, man. Let's get up out of here.
Peace.
By the way, Van Glorious, this is protected by the red, the black, and the green. At the crossroad, with the key.
By any means